Whiskey fam, sit down, grab a dram, and listen to your boy Whiskey One talk some whiskey with you. Big shout out to my friend Hiram Crook for letting me borrow this. This is the Sweet Oak Bourbon from Woodford Reserve, and it's part of their Master Collection series. So stick around. All right, folks, so we are inching closer and closer towards the end of 2025. And boy, what a year it has been. One of the things I kind of want to jump right into just briefly is, we all start our years mostly with a few little New Year's resolutions. And some of us have slipped a little bit, maybe not all. If you guys started a resolution and you're still on it, you're still going strong, drop a comment below. Let me know how you're doing, what it was that you were actually making a resolution on. But mine was taking better care of myself, my overall health. And part of that did affect the channel. I will say that I've shot less videos, done a lot less reviews than I normally do. But a lot of that was just being a little bit more mindful of the stuff that I was eating and drinking less, right? And just making sure that, like, if I was going to do some drinking, just do it in moderation, of course, which we all should do. But I'm kind of curious, like, of all the things that you guys watching the videos were doing a resolution on, like, let me know what it was. So let's jump into this. This is a bottle that Hiram let me borrow because he's happened to see it on the shelf. It was interesting. It was expensive. And, sometimes like we don't know whether to grab that bottle when it's expensive, right? Especially this year. I think there's a good amount of people that have to watch their budget, or they're the DME guys, right? The DME, and all I mean by that is you might be on social media and someone's posting part of their collection or all of their whiskey collection and then saying DM me because they need to get rid of it, right? Or help hand it off to somebody else. Now, me personally, I'm not there yet. I'm definitely nowhere near that, but I just been moderating. Now, I'm actually interested to hear from all you guys if you too have like drank less, right? Either for health reasons or it's just affordability. Maybe it's just getting too expensive to keep up with your collection, or I don't know, maybe you feel a little burnt out of all the expensive bottles that there tends to be on the shelves these days or online. But I want to jump right into this because honestly, this is a very interesting bottle that I think we're going to get into. And, some of you guys might be watching and asking yourself, like, hey, do I get this thing? And we're going to cover that. All right. So this is aged in Chincapin oak. I had to look it up because I'm not a big nerd when it comes to oak and wood and all those things. I know enough to be dangerous, but I had to personally see, like, what are the deets to this? Like, what is so special about Chincapin? And honestly, I don't know that there's anything special about it, but what I did learn is this. It predominantly grows in central and eastern United States, although you can find this throughout stateside. And it has a less tannic flavor to it. It's also sweeter. And so some of you guys that like the double oaked type of bourbons or double oaked ryes, because it is sweeter, it just has a little bit more of that vanilla and that caramel to it, you might be saying, well, is this going to give me that same type of feel? I don't know, but certainly I think that's why Woodford decided to age it in those types of barrels. So let's see how this nose is. It's way chocolatey, I will tell you that, and a lot of chocolate covered cherry. It's nice. I will say that there's also definitely less tannins. But here's one thing that some of you guys that drink bourbon or drink whiskey are probably into is a little bit of that tannic note. Maybe you like it to be a little dry. Maybe you like it less drying or less clingy to the palate or the tongue. And I noticed that like whiskeys that tend to be tannic, yeah, they're dry. Think of them like a Merlot. If you've ever had a Merlot, it's very dry, very like clingy to the palate. And in particular, I don't really like that. You know, maybe some of you guys are Merlot fans, but one thing I noticed is that it's very sweet. It's fruity. The vanillas do jump out at you. There's a black tea note that kind of hangs on. I think it helps to balance out overall, like so far, like, you know, between your high ranges, which can be a little spicy or sparkly. It does have a whiff of spice. I don't know if it's a high rye bourbon. One thing about this bottle that I tried to find out was a little bit more details around like how old it is, what's the age statement, because it's not on the label. You know, maybe there's a mash bill to it that they could share. And I didn't find any of that on the Woodford website. Matter of fact, you can't really get this through the Woodford website. I was hoping to find it online, but it might be in your local retailer. So there might be some hunting around if you decide to get this. Hopefully you are actually seeing it on the shelves and you want to see what people have to say about it. Hopefully I'm one of the first that you come across. Hey, who knows? But let's jump into this because I will say like the nose on it is nice. Again, a lot of that black tea starts to jump out a little bit more. It's somewhat briny, so like a salted caramel or salted toffee. Yeah, really, really light on the spice. So if you like them spicy, I don't know that you'll enjoy this as much, but hey, maybe that doesn't matter. And this is about 110 proof. So 55.2, I think is what I saw. Yep, 55.2% alcohol. No age statement. I'm not quite sure how old it is, but one of the things that's going to jump out at you right away as you pick up this bottle for yourself, if you find it, man, it is super dark, mahogany, dark cherry in color. As I raise it up, look at those colors there, the legs, of course. It does look nice and sticky. Yeah, it's got some great viscosity to it. So let's get into it. Have a little sip. Cheers. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. Way less tannic. Oh, the heat rises up. There's a good amount of spice that's warming, not bitey. It doesn't overwhelm you, but it brings up the temperature, certainly on the palate. I like it. And the first thing that kind of jumps out at me was there's a cherry cola, like really dark tea note right away, like very pervasive. And I actually like it a lot. And even a subtle amount of root beer to it. So one more sip. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Okay. I like what's happening here. Remember when I was talking about the dry note, right? It could be drying, it's a little sweet. Now, what I personally like about it is the finish is super long, way long. It really does cling on to the palate in such a beautiful way. It gives you that Kentucky hug. And although you don't get too much spice as you're nosing it, the spice starts to really show itself on those return sips. It's really starting to elevate the temperature in the room, warming the chest for sure. But now there's like a marshmallow note. There's a subtle cafe aroma to it. Like when you're first walking into a cafe, it smells like that. Um, the black tea is the first thing that kind of like kind of bumps all the other flavors around. But what I really like is when I went to the second sip, that cherry cola note, it really was very pervasive. Like it's the first dominant thing that you notice. And then things like the vanilla, sweet, soft, subtle oak starts to kind of hang out too. I'm gonna take one more sip and I'm gonna share with you who I feel like this speaks to the most. So cheers. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm-mm-mm. Wow. This is a fantastic bottle. I like this. This was a fresh cork pop. Um, wow. That's the first thing I want to share with you. Wow. So one of the things I think that I can easily say is this is probably a whiskey connoisseur bottle. At retail, you're going to probably spend anywhere between like 170 US on up. Um, I like what's happening here. There's a lot of complexity, but there's also these different subtleties that, unless you drink it for yourself, you may not pick up on. Especially if you're like new to whiskey, you'll definitely get the vanillas and the caramels. You'll get the cherry note at first, and then you might miss like how those transitions happen. But if you don't like miss those, hey, great. Maybe you're progressing in your little whiskey journey. But personally, I feel like the connoisseur is going to appreciate this the most. One, because of the price and the overall value of it. I think this is a fantastic bottle. Let's talk whether you should get this or not. One of the things that I think I have been wrestling with, especially this year, is the high price of a lot of bottles that are out because they're limited, they're exclusive. And one thing I've noticed is almost everything that distillers are putting out these days is a limited release. It just has to be limited, apparently. And it's really driving up the price. I think that's really one of the main reasons why so many things that you see on the shelves now are like $100 on up. But, to each their own. I think there's certainly people that don't mind collecting or don't mind, dropping some cheddar on those more expensive or premium bottles. Me personally, like I'm getting to a stage where I want to try it before I buy it. So if you get the opportunity, like talk to those stores that have this, or maybe they'll let you try it. Maybe they might have a bottle open in the back. Who knows? I'm not saying that that's probably going to happen more likely than not, but hey, it doesn't hurt to try, right? Especially if you tell them like you're a serious buyer and maybe they already know you. They probably let you try it. But I think that this is well worth going after. From all the Woodford Reserve bottlings that I've tasted, honestly, this almost tastes like a step above the double oaked. I just think that with everything going on in the glass, it's definitely worth it. And I think you should get it. Now, there's one last thing I'm going to mention. We've been collaborating with Elijah Cavender, who runs Killnet, which is a artistic pottery studio. Honestly, he has a lot of fun. I see people coming in and out of there and just painting pottery, making pottery. He teaches folks how to make pottery. And I had this vision of like a Southwestern style Glencairn, but after some discussion, he's helped me see this vision come to light. And that's what you're seeing here, the Old Soul Whiskey Tumbler. Now this is fantastic. A piece of art, it's custom, handmade, and if you're interested in getting one for yourself and supporting the channel, I highly recommend it. You can find it on our website. This has just been really fun to drink out of. It feels great, and it's honestly pretty impressive if you ask me. And not just because it's got the Whiskey One logo on there, but it's really a work of art, and it's honestly very unique, and I highly encourage you guys to consider ordering some for yourself. Now, hopefully you stuck around and watched this video to the end. I really appreciate it, and hearing me nerd out a little bit. So thank you for supporting us, and don't forget, here at Whiskey One, it's about the one you enjoy. Cheers.